Okay, so I have an honest truth to tell you guys. I've never told this story, but honestly, so many people ask me this over on Twitch all the time because it's one of my deepest, darkest secrets. But before we get into the story, I just want to mention I'm currently live on Twitch right now, so click the link down below and watch me live for more crazy stories like this one. And on top of that, did I mention leave a like and subscribe? Because you seriously should. If you don't, I'm gonna go do the Devil's Tango with your mother and maybe your dad. No, I'm just kidding. Not your dad. Going on though. What is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba. Welcome back to another insane story. Today, I'll be revealing the truth of why I wear socks 24/7. And yes, I do wear socks 24/7. For a bit of a backstory, basically, one time on Twitch, I remember I told my chat that I wear socks 24/7. And all of them were shocked. They even said in bed, and I said yes. I wear socks to bed. I wear socks when I'm home. I wear socks when I'm out. I wear socks all the time. The only times I don't wear it is when I'm swimming or taking a shower, because I'm not psycho, okay? But everywhere else, my socks are on. And many girls say, oh, you have such pale feet. It's the weird girls that like looking at my feet. Stop it. It's gross. Icky. That's my no-no square. Sorry, going on though. This story all starts off when I was a kid. And by a kid, I mean a very young kid. I remember I was 7 years old and I was just hanging out with me and my family. And me and my family, we always like to go on trips and stuff all the time. But one thing that my parents never let me do was go on sleepovers. Sleepovers were never something I was allowed to do. Like, comment down below if you guys have strict parents that don't let you go on sleepovers, because I knew I had one of those parents. Like, my first sleepover was when I was 10 years old. But I think the reason why is because this one time, it all starts like this. So I remember back when I was 7 years old, I remember me and my family were gonna go visit some really close old family friends. And me, I was down to go see my family friends. I always enjoyed going. So I remember I ended up going on the car with them and we ended up going to their house. And when I did, I remember I saw an old friend of mine that I haven't seen in a while. He was a bit younger than me, but still, we were good friends. The only age difference was like 2 years, and me being 7, him being 5, didn't really make a difference. Other than he was better at building Legos and me, I was better at touching my iPad. Yes, I had an iPad. I was a cool kid, okay? Anyways, going on though. I remember one time as we were all just playing and my family was in the living room with their parents and I was playing with him. We were all playing games and stuff and we were all hanging out. But as usual, I remember the 5-year-old, he looks at me and he says, yo, bro, do you want to maybe sleep over with me? I look at him. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't think my mom and dad would let me stay the night. And reminder, I never had a sleepover, so I didn't know how it was gonna go. But then I told him, yeah, man, I don't think my mommy and daddy will let me. He ends up looking at me. He's like, dude, just tell your mom that you'll be safe and you can sleep in my crib. Okay, let me explain real quick. Yes, he still had a crib. I think he was 5 and still slept in a crib. And no, I wasn't gonna sleep on the crib, but yeah. Anyways, I'll continue. It'll make more sense later on. So I remember me and this kid, we ended up going into the living room. We ended up walking up to our parents and saying, hey, so can Baba sleep over? And I went to ask my parents and I said, hey, mom, dad, can I sleep over, please? They both looked over at each other as usual parents do, and they're like, sure. Are you sure you can handle it though, Baba? You're gonna be pretty far from home. It was only a 20-minute drive, but going on. I ended up telling her, yeah, I can do it. I'm a big boy now. I'm 7 years old. I can just call my mom on my iPad if I really need her. My mom looks over at me and she's like, okay, we'll just be safe, okay? We'll let you stay the night. So I remember once we got the okay for the sleepover, me and my friend were freaked out. We're like, no way, we're going to have a sleepover. Let's go, baby. And we ended up playing Nerf guns all around the house. We ended up all messing around and stuff, and we started goofing around basically. We had dinner, we were watching TV, we were doing the whole entire sleepover thing. But me being 7 years old, obviously all fun times come to an end. And well, this fun time was at nighttime. So I remember it became around 9:30. It was dark out. It was seriously dark out. And I remember my friend's mom walked up to us and saying, okay guys, time to go to bed. What? Now this is where my heart started freaking out and I was like, no way. Oh my goodness. I'm going to bed. Oh my god, I don't have my mom. And I started freaking out. I started kind of hyperventilating. But then after that, the mom of my friend ended up walking up to me saying, hey, don't worry, you're gonna be okay. Here, let me show you where you're gonna be sleeping. And we ended up going into my buddy's room together and we ended up basically making a little spot for me to sleep in. It was just like my bed at home. I had a blanket, I had a pillow, I had a mattress. But the only thing was that when I was laying down, I realized that this wasn't my room. Obviously it wasn't my room, but you know what I mean. The feeling sunk in that I was not at home. And I missed my mom. And then I remember I went to go get my iPad. So I secretly got up quietly to not wake up my buddy that was sleeping in the crib. And I walked over to the living room where my iPad was. I sat on the couch. I went on my iPad and I tried calling my mom, but my iPad was dead. I didn't know what to do. I was panicking. I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, I can't call my mommy. So I ended up just, basically trying to find another way. I walked around the house with my bare feet, walking thump, 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 all around the place. And this is where things get wild. I ended up going inside the kitchen, all terrified and scared. And then after that, I hear a big thump behind me. And it was the mom. But it wasn't just the mom in a normal face. She had like green stuff all over her face. And she looked at me. She's like, Baba, why are you bare feet walking around the kitchen? You could get sick. Where are your socks? What? Dude, I remember I turned around and like freaked out. I'm like, oh my goodness. What? Like I was terrified, dude. Like I could not explain it. I had like the most scared feeling. And the weirdest part was that she wasn't even asking about me. She was asking about my socks. And for some reason, I remember I was freaked out, right? And what does a 7-year-old kid do when he's freaked out? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I ran. Me knowing she had like some green like alien product on her hair and stuff or on her face. And I'm freaked out like crazy. I remember I started sprinting. I ran around the house like crazy. Like think of like a Roadrunner and me running 10 times faster than that little birdie does when he's running away from the wolf. I was running around scared, jumping from couch to couch, terrified. After I hear a 5-year-old kid, which was my buddy, crying in his room, not knowing what's going on. And I remember the dad came. I was like, what's going on here? I mean, I was running terrified because every time I looked behind me, it was the mom literally chasing me down with a pair of socks that weren't even mine, trying to make me put them on. I don't know what this deal was with his mom and socks, but for some reason, she has like a really strict rule of having socks on in the house because like, the hardwood floors and stuff could make me sick from, I have no idea what's the science behind it, but all I know is that this woman was chasing me with socks and I was gonna puke and be terrified. Like it was the scariest feeling in my life, and to this day I'm still terrified. Like I still wear socks to this day because of this woman. Anyways, as I was running away, I remember the dad ends up jumping in front of me, and then after that the mom ended up grabbing me by my shoulders, throwing me on the couch and literally putting the socks on me forcefully. Like I've never seen a person get socks put on them forcefully, but this was by force. I was freaking out, almost crying, and then I remember the mom looks at me after she puts on the socks. She's like, don't ever, and I mean ever, run around my house without socks on again. You understand me? I started crying. At that point, I was tearing up. I'm like, I want my mommy. Because like I didn't know what was going on. And I remember that they ended up calling my mom, and my mom was like, oh, like we'll come picking you up. I'm so sorry. And then like my mom came over and it was a whole scenario. And then after that, I remember my dad looks at me when he came to the house with my mom. And as my mom was talking to the family friend or the mother of the family friend about the whole situation, I remember my dad looks at me saying, those aren't your socks. I didn't buy those for you. Whose socks are those? I ended up looking up at him and I started crying. And I'm like, I don't know. And then my mom ends up looking over. She's like, why are you crying? And then my dad's like, oh, like, don't worry. Like, we could take off the socks. I remember my dad was reaching for my feet to take off my socks. And I said, no, please don't. And I was terrified. I don't think I took off those socks for like a literally week straight. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. Actually, I think I still might have them. I'm not sure. But other than that, that is basically the story of why I wear socks 24/7. That traumatizing experience from when I was 7 till now, I still wear socks. And no, if I do take off my socks, I don't think like some old lady is gonna come after me or something to make sure I have my socks on. I just got used to it at this point, from when I was a kid till now. Other than that though, that is basically it for today's story. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. Make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Seriously, it means a lot when you guys do. And like I always say, fall for more embarrassing stories. All right, peace out, guys.